Hey James, how would you trade euro dollar?
That's a great question. Let's look into that. Hello there, I'm James, and today I'm answering a very, very good question on probably the most traded currency pair. But before I get into all of that, don't forget these little videos are for educational purposes only, and in no way whatsoever should ever be taken as financial advice. I always suggest you do your own research, do your own due diligence, and of course, know the risks at hand before entering any trade. With that out of the way, let's get started. So today's question was, how would I approach trading the euro dollar? And like I just said, the euro dollar is probably the most traded currency pair in the Forex market. And there's a very good reason for that. Let's take a look at it. The US is the world's biggest economy, and the US dollar is the #1 biggest reserve currency. And in many ways, the US dollar is still king. However, there's a second powerhouse, the euro. The euro is the second biggest reserve currency, and the Eurozone is one of the biggest economies in the world. This is why the euro dollar is such a powerhouse in the currency market, because literally you're dealing with the world's #1 biggest economy and one of the biggest economies in the world, the #1 reserve currency and the second biggest reserve currency in the world. So obviously, if you're looking at these two, you're going to have to look at their economic data, not just US economic data, but also what's happening in the Eurozone economic data. Things like GDP, obviously, CPI, job growth, and obviously what the ECB, which is the European Central Bank, will do with interest rates. At the same time, you need to take into account what the Fed will do with interest rates. At the same point of that, like we discussed with gold in a previous episode, you have to pay attention to ECB press conferences, who the current president of the ECB is. Are they hawkish or dovish on the Eurozone economy? As well as that, as is one of the most liquid and traded pairs, you have to be aware of the time zones as well. Because don't forget, though the euro can be traded 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, there is different trading sessions. We have the Asian trading session. We have London, or the European trading session, which is massive, and then the New York trading session. So during the Asian trading session, volumes are a little low because it's not so big when it comes to the euro. But when London opens, London is huge and it creates a lot of volatility for the euro. At the same time, when New York opens, which opens during the time that London is still open, you get what's known as the crossover, which is huge volatility because you've got two of the biggest trading sessions opened at the same time. However, after London closes and it's just New York, volumes again drop off. Now, the average sort of pip movement for the euro dollar during the Asian session is around about 72 pips. During New York, it's around 88 to 94 pips. But London can range from 112 pips to 120 pips. Now, don't forget, the Eurozone is made up of a number of countries in Europe. Okay, a number of countries, around about 17 European countries are in the Eurozone. So, here's the thing. You need to keep an eye on what's happening in the Eurozone as well. And there is 4 big economies in the Eurozone you really need to keep an eye on. Coming in 4th is Holland, followed very closely by, in 3rd place, Italy. Beautiful Italy. 2nd place, well, that belongs to France. Viva la France. But number one is Germany. Not only is Germany the biggest economy in the Eurozone, it's one of the biggest economies in the world. This is why German data is oh so key. Those are really the 4 countries you need to pay attention to. Like I said at the end, Germany is one of the world's biggest economies in the world, not just in the Eurozone. So German data can affect the euro. Unlike French data or Italian data, the market focuses on EU data or Eurozone data and German data. As well as that, there's something else you need to be aware of, and that is, fortunately, politics. Now, ever since the UK left the EU, not the Eurozone, but the EU, there has been a great fear that other countries may leave the EU and the Eurozone, greatly weakening the Euro. For example, there's a cases in France. For example, France general elections a couple of years ago, there was a candidate called Le Pen who was anti-EU, anti-Eurozone, and said if she ever got elected, France would leave the European Union. That caused a lot of fear. There were very similar elections in Holland the following year, and Italy, right now, at the current time of recording, has a right-wing government who are not big fans of the EU. At the same time, you do need to be aware of the economic conditions of these countries. A couple of years ago, a good couple of years ago, there was what's known as the crisis of the pigs. Okay, when a number of EU countries needed to be bailed out. This included the likes of Portugal, Ireland, Italy, Greece, and Spain. This caused a lot of concern as well on the euro, putting the euro under pressure. So those are other things you need to take into account. The other thing you need to consider when you're looking at the euro and the US dollar is market sentiment. Now, unlike the US dollar, the euro is not a safe haven. The dollar is a safe haven. The euro is a risk-based currency. So when the market is hungry and confident, they will go to riskier assets like the euro. When there is risk off, they will look at safe havens like the US dollar. So you need to look at market sentiment. Is it risk on or risk off? So you need to take that into account as well. The other thing you need to take into account when trading the euro dollar is obviously correlations. Now, the euro dollar is negatively correlated with the US dollar Swiss franc. In other words, they go to opposite directions. But the euro dollar is positively correlated with currencies like the British pound US dollar. So you need to look at currency correlations as well when you're looking at trading the euro dollar. Now let's have a quick look at some technicals on the euro dollar. Okay, so I have my euro dollar chart up. And let's have a little look at, again, like I said in previous videos, and I'll keep saying it, there is so many different technical indicators out there which can be used to try and identify trading opportunities. And there is no sort of like foolproof one. It's just trying to find which one works for you. But this is sort of the routine I'm looking at. I'm going to look at a medium-term trade using some technicals here. So first of all, I'm going to look at the overall long-term trends. So I'm going to go back to weekly, do a weekly chart, so we can have a look at the weekly there, see how it's looking, and actually will give us an idea. So, okay, this is the weekly. So let's get to the end of the weekly here, so we can have an overall picture to see what's occurring with the euro dollar. So here we go. Okay, look, there was a downtrend on the long term. So let's put that in. Okay, let's put in like a downtrend line. Here, that's probably to there. And as we can see, though it was on a downtrend, currently it clearly is broken and it is changed. Okay, it is changed. However, if we look at price action, we can see some key areas to keep an eye on. This being this one, which is 1.07760. Okay, and we can see that because it's currently been resistance this week, but there's also been a resistance previously and a support and a resistance and a resistance and a resistance and a support. So we know in the past, there's a past record of this level being key. So we need to keep an eye. So straight away, we can see that on the weekly. If we can look at potential areas to maybe buy in from, again, using price action, here looks like an interesting area, 1.0620. So bung it in there because, again, we can see that's been a support previously and also a resistance. Remember, it's I always look for levels where resistance and support changes their roles. So that's important. Okay, and let's put in some moving averages as well. Indicators, trend, moving averages. Let's do a 20, make it red. And we'll put in a 50 as well, so we can see the crossovers as well. Make it 50. Make it blue. Nice shade of blue. And bung that in there as well. Okay, so anyway, that's long term. So we can see it was on a downtrend. It certainly looks like it's broken it, but straight away we can see some two key areas. Let's move this to a daily. See what the daily shows us. Okay, very good. Again, on a daily, is showing us absolutely that 1.0760 is a key resistance. At the same time, 1.06173 on a daily is a potential key support. Also, at the same time, you've got the moving averages around that area. So that is a key area for us to watch, definitely. Because don't forget, when it's under a moving average, it's a downtrend. So on a daily, it currently is under the moving averages. So again, they're acting as a potential support. So that is, again, key area of interest for us to look at. Let's have a quick look at maybe some short-term trading opportunities. Let's go to 30 minutes, see what we can see with 30 minutes. We know that there on a short term, okay, it's above the moving averages. So straight away, the 50 moving average is giving us an idea of support on a short term, okay? But like I say, the short term, don't forget the 20 was the short term that passed, so it's not passed above that. To show us on the short term, it's under a little bit of pressure. Let's go to an hour. Now it gives us a little bit more of an idea. That has broken above the 50, showing a slight change of that, and it's giving it a bit of a support. So support round here. So realistically, I would be looking at a short-term 1 hourly trade, short-term trade. If this can hold and I start to see it bounce again around this area, because if we can put a line in here as well on a short term, we can see, yeah, again, it's holding there. So really, we'll wait a moment to see if this holds and it breaks above this, and then we might do a quick smash and grab trade to maybe around here, 1.0730. So that could be potentially our target there. So yeah, that's again using a little bit of technical analysis. Again, there's lots of technical indicators. It all depends what works for you. But like again, I always look for the key areas personally. So yeah, there's a little bit on technical analysis on the euro dollar for today. Don't forget, actually, before I sign off, don't forget the live trading. When we do it, we'll be obviously looking and placing live trades, and we'll be looking to do short-term trades during the day to give you some ideas of what I personally look for. So there we go. That's the areas, or those are things I look at when I'm considering trading the euro dollar. In summary, I look at the importance of economic data, both from the US and from the Eurozone, and Germany too. I also look at, obviously, the countries involved in the Eurozone, what's going on with them, both economically and politically. I also look on the market sentiment. Is it risk on or risk off? And of course, I look at technicals as well, and correlations with other currency pairs. So that's what I look at when I'm looking to trade the euro dollar. I hope that answers your question, or at least shed some light on the euro dollar. Now remember, these little videos are for educational purposes only, and in no way whatsoever should ever be taken as financial advice. I always suggest you do your own research, do your own due diligence, and of course, know the risks at hand before entering any trade. Until next time, every single one of you, trade safe.